Hi everybody, Mike Lashmet, President of Vintage Indy, and we're here at Vintage Indy D24R, Newman Turn 4 Restorations in Brownsburg, Indiana, which is our shop. And just wanted to tell you about some of the cars that are in here. Up on the wall on these racks, all of these cars are obviously very historic Vintage Indy cars, and they're awaiting their turn in restoration. We've got a couple of Penske's up there. We've got an F2 March, an orange car. On the bottom, number 11 is a Talon F5000 car that Chris Amon drove in the very first Long Beach Grand Prix back in the fall of 1975. This is Joe Leonard's 73 Velcro Jones Samsonite car. There's two Mike Andretti Lolas that we acquired from the Newman Haas folks at their auction. Mario's 88 Lola from Newman Haas and Big Al Sert's Penske. And the car down here on the bottom is actually a restored car. It's awaiting correct graphics, and it's Robbie McGee's Energizer Bunny car. It's a 2004 G-Force. And back here in the back, we've got a Monster 962 Porsche, the Kenwood car. That was a Kremer team car. It's the car that Joe Gardner lost his life in at Le Mans in '85, and then the car was rebuilt, and the Kremer folks took it back to Le Mans in '86 and '87. It finished 4th and 7th there. The car's for sale for $1.5 million right now, and it's obviously eligible for the historic 24 down at Daytona, the HSR, the Midi. There's a lot of different events it could participate in. Really a beautiful car. Porsche still makes parts, and they still manufacture the engines for these 962s. And quite a car. And then over here, this is Al Jr.'s 83 Blatt Eagle. Blatt was an acronym for Boundary Layer Adhesion Technology. It was Dan Gurney's answer to ground effects. We call them Chapman's ground effects. This is a finished running car with a turbo Cosworth. It's participated in a lot of our events, and it's also for sale through Vintage Indy. And it participated in the Eagle reunion a couple of years ago up at Road America, and hope to find a really nice new home for it. This is a set of Eagle wheels, Halibron wheels, Eagle pattern. And these are for the Mystery Eagle that we're restoring for the Dan Gurney collection, the Dan Gurney family over here in the other room. In this room we do all the restorations. We're finishing up a 1972 Eagle that was a leader card team car. A.J. Watson was the chief mechanic. Mike Mosley was the driver. This car famously went from last to first at Phoenix in the spring race of 1974. It's got a turbo offie in it. This is not the engine that's going to end up in this car. This is just a mock-up that's in there right now. We're waiting on the engine to come back for the dyno. And then this car will go back together. And this is another Eagle. This is another 72 Eagle. And this is the famous Mystery Eagle that Dan Gurney's All-American Racers ran Jerry Grant in at Indianapolis. And this car almost won the 572, known as the Purple Number 48 Mystery Eagle. And then at Ontario Motor Speedway later that year for the California 500, Jerry Grant set fast time set on the pole in this car. And the really historic aspect surrounding this car is the fact that it was the first Indy car to ever run a 200-mile-an-hour lap average anywhere. So that happened at Ontario in Labor Day weekend of '72, and that was 5 years before Tom Sneva eclipsed the 200-mile-an-hour mark officially at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And in the background, that's PC9. That's kind of like how a project starts out here for restoration. You know, you have some of the parts, you don't have all of the parts. This was Bill Alsop's car. It was the A.B. Dick car when he drove for Roger Penske. He only drove for him, I believe, for 1 year, and then Roger gifted him this car complete, and Bill campaigned it independently for a year or two thereafter. So we've just kind of started, you know, getting this thing ready to go and trying to find different pieces that are missing for it. We're looking for a PC9 bell housing if anybody out there knows where one's at, because this is a PC9. And then this is a finished restored running car that we're getting ready to do a little bit of work on. This is a 1977 Lightning designed by Roman Slobodinsky. For those of you that are familiar with Roman's the guy that designed the famous 72 Eagle, which was a groundbreaking design for Dan Gurney and All-American racers. 72 Eagle, Bobby Unser put it on the pole at Indianapolis, and in doing so, eclipsed the previous year's pole speed by almost 18 miles an hour. Previous pole winner in 71 being Peter Revson, so Bobby went 18 miles an hour faster in 72. That's never happened since then. It probably will never happen again. So after the 72 Eagle, Roman's next design was this Lightning. And he shopped the design with Dan Gurney, and Dan passed on it for financial reasons. And Roman Slobodinsky went to Lindsay Hopkins, and Lindsay Hopkins financed the building of the first 3 cars in Tucson by Dave Looper and the guys out there. And then the other 6 were built by Don Edmonds Auto Research in Anaheim. And this is chassis number 9. And this car was Bobby Unser's car at Fletcher Racing's, and Bobby qualified this car on the front row at the Speedway in 77. Then Pancho Carter drove this in Budweiser livery in 78, and then Steve Krisloff drove this car in the Frosty Acres livery at the Speedway in 79. Eventually the car was given by Bob Fletcher to Phil Caliva, and Phil campaigned this in IndyCar races after that. Never made the Speedway again. It was entered, but never qualified. But it did qualify those 3 straight years.
Thank you.
You're welcome.